Hey there, Bram Spiro here. You're watching another episode of Buy and Hold Fundamentals, and we're still looking at Greenville, excuse me, South Carolina. And like I said the other day, I noticed how many potential listings, which are foreclosures or pre-foreclosures or other weird stuff that was popping up a lot, looking at Greenville specifically as opposed to other places we've looked. And I've been having my doubts about those. So I've decided to filter those out and stop looking at those. So going forward, we're just going to be looking at properties that are actually for sale as opposed to potentially for sale. That's it. So again, if this is the first time you're watching, here every weekday I look at 20 potential buy and hold properties, do a short analysis on each one of them. At least for now, what we're really trying to do is get a sense of a market, whether it's this one or other ones, and start gathering enough data so that we can start drawing some conclusions on typical prices, rent ratios, taxes, that kind of stuff. Mainly so that we can start noticing anomalies, because that's really where the money is. Okay, that's enough preamble. Outside of that, I think this week this will be the last episode on Greenville until we come back to it. Next week, we'll look at either a neighborhood in Indianapolis or in Milwaukee. But that's for next week. What else? So on weekends, the other thing is on weekends or Saturdays, I usually, if my life doesn't get in the way, do a short summary of the properties I've looked at over the last week. Try and draw some conclusions from the data that we've gathered, the 100 properties we looked at that week. And on Sundays, I expand either looking at multi-family property analysis, which is something I'm getting really, really interested in, or other general stuff. So that's it, basically. Anyway, thank you for watching, and let's get started. Okay. Let's grabbing the data, sticking in our sheet. What we want is just some really basic stuff, asking price, an indication as to the market rate for rent, and then we stick it in our trusty old analysis sheet. 1250. The only other variable, at least at this stage, that I look at is taxes, because as we've seen, they can vary a lot and they will impact profitability quite considerably. Okay, so here we're doing $73 in cash flow. That's a 2% cash on cash. Looked at that one. Now let's look at this one. There you go. No. Why didn't it pick it up? Keeps on doing this weird stuff. Don't ask me why it keeps on opening up the debugger all the time. I don't know. Let's see what the rent is like on this one. Is it comparable? It's $13.50. Now, that's another thing we've been seeing. Sort of comparable properties, at least price-wise, or the area that they're in, and then there's these swings in property taxes and 1035. Property taxes and rents, all of which is interesting. 109 and 3%. Okay, next. Stick that in here. Grab that from over here. Okay. Rents. 925. That's part of what I mean. Look, it's the comparable prices, rents much lower, which obviously is going to affect your rent ratio, your chances for cash flow. Let's see what the taxes are like. 1087, so they're almost the same. Come on, this is where we want to go. 1087, that's going to be losing money. It's 170 in the red, minus 5%. Okay. Let's keep on going. And either we're in a different part of town, or now that we're looking at actual houses for rent, that we're starting to see stuff that's closer to reality as opposed to some of the really hard margins we've seen. Although, again, those might be anomalies that are interesting. Let's see what the taxes are like. 2703. See what I mean? 2703. And I'm like a broken record on this town. You've heard me say it before if you've been watching. Taxes are weird here. I just don't get that. I mean, there doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason to them. Negative 2%. And I'm sure there is, just that I haven't figured it out yet. But you can call a real estate agent, ask them what they know. You can call a property manager, try and figure out what they know. Here we go. Okay. It's a condo, townhouse kind of deal. Why does it keep on opening up the debugger? $825. Let's see where that gets us. 1.5% rent ratio. So that's potentially interesting. And let's see what the taxes are like. 975. 122, 8%. Okay, next. That's a piece of land. That's a lot. That's a lot. I looked at these before. Yeah, they're all lots. That's a lot. That's a lot. Let's move over this way. What we're using is the boundary. Just remember. Those were lots. We'll use this. Okay. Main Street. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay. Now we've looked at... That's another mobile. Okay. No, not getting into that. Let's see what we got here. Grab the price. Rent is here. 1175. Why is that rundown place renting for? Why they click? I mean, that's the whole thing, right? These aren't necessarily the real rents. They're just estimates of the rent. And that, for instance, well, it is a 4-bedroom, but still, it looks pretty run down compared to other places we've seen. 2236, but 94 and 4%. So the thing is, 4%. The thing is that this is just an initial sort of, you're just sniffing around, because you're going to have to validate. I mean, if something becomes interesting to you and you want to look into it, you better find out what the real rents are like, and not depend on the estimates you get here. If they're renting it out, then let them show you the rent rolls. If they're not, look at the town and see what similar properties rent for. Go on Craigslist. Do whatever you got to do to get a feel for what that should be renting for. And then 850, right? Yeah. And then run your analysis with like a low ball and with something that you think is realistic. Here we go. Taxes again. Really weird. 233, 18%. When we love those all over the place, right? 18% cash on cash. That's a lot. That's a house. Okay, so that looks like a rundown piece of crap. And it looks like half of a rundown piece of crap. Is that it? Location, location, location. Location, location, location means that it's a rundown piece of crap that they're trying to pull off for you, and there's nothing else going for it except for the fact that it's in the right spot. Let's see what this is saying on rents. 1150. That just doesn't make sense. Why would someone pay that much for a rundown piece of crap? I mean, if you go and you fix it up, and then it starts making sense, cool, but 507. 226, 10%. Okay. No, that's a lot. Not interested. That's a lot too. That's on the other side of Main Street. Okay, there we go. Right, so here, let's see if there's something comparable. So this is not a piece of crap. It's just a nice, simple house, but it seems to be, at least it looks better. What's the rent on this? 1100. Makes more sense than the previous one. Okay. 444. on a second. I'm going to pause this, be right back. And I'm back. So let's see what we get here. 171 and 7%. Okay, let's keep on going. Let's see what this one gives us. Another not piece of crap. Although if they're just showing you pictures of the outside, you can assume that the inside isn't pretty. If it was pretty, they would have shown it to you. Okay. And there we go. 10. So that sort of seems to be the going price for like a nice decent house, but the taxes are all over the place. 2491. All right, so go figure. And you're losing money. 128 and 4%. Minus 128 minus 0.4. And let's do the next one. That's a foreclosure, but it's like a proper foreclosure. Interesting. Look at this. Per city of Greenville, the property is condemned. So it's basically worthless. It's just the land. I won't even look at it unless you're into construction. That's a plot of land. There we go. I don't know if you can get something that's condemned to become uncondemned without tearing it down, but that sounds way too complicated for the likes of me. And what are we getting on rents? $8.95. Let's see where that takes us. Up. $8.95. $9.79. $83, 4%. 83, 4%. Next. That was land. Oh, come on. That was a piece of land. That's a home. Oh, fixer upper. You don't say. Yeah. You see, that's the whole thing. It's a piece of crap. When they say fixer upper, it means that it's about probably in the same kind of condition as that condemned place. And unless you're looking for a headache, I'd stay away. But that's just me. There's other people that are into that stuff. Good for them. Let them have it. It's... Those things are a lot more interesting if you're looking to flip stuff, which is not what I'm after. It's not the kind of analysis that I know how to do, although figuring out how to analyze rehab costs isn't rocket science, but it's not my forte. So, staying away from those. taxes, 925. 925, 58, 2%. Okay, next. And grab the address. The price. What do we got on rent? $12.50. It's not going to cash flow that great either. 1827, that's not going to cash flow at all. Just barely. $3. $3. 0%. And we're off to the next one. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to lose money on that, because the assumptions that I'm putting in here in my sheet are very conservative, and they will probably not pan out exactly the way that I put them in. But if with a little bit more looking, you can get a better deal instead of one that just meets muster, then why the hell not? All it takes is just looking a little bit more, that's all. 1150. Taxes are what? 392, because why in the world be consistent about it, right? 392, it's 112 at 4%. Close that out. What do we have here? That was the shithole. Did we grab that? Always a good look. Look at that. Investment. Again, this is for flippers. Let's put it in anyway. You're just going to have to put in a crap load of work in that. Bunch of windows. Probably deal with really bad mold. Kitchen looks like crap, so put new doors on the kitchen. That's gonna, you have to redo that entire bathroom. And take the board off the door. Yeah, no. That one. $1,200. Taxes $10.60. Let's start with that. What was the rent? $1,200. Okay. No, that was a lot. Not interested. Oop. Over here first. Okay. Grab the price. Stick that over here. I didn't put, so what did this give me? 206 and 9%. It's getting better. Okay. Focus. 1095. Go in here. Up. Oops. What have we got in taxes? 1266. Gives us 146 and 7%. 146, 7%. And what else? Did that guy. Let's do this guy. Flower Drive. Grab him. Back for rent. 1200. And here we go. Back for the taxes. 902. 68, 2%. 68, 2%. That's a piece of land, not interested. Okay. Price, rent, 1200. Let's see if the taxes are any different. 1611. The rest is 1611. $9, 0%. 9 and 0. Else, just wait. Okay, grab the price. All very similar. What's the rent like here? 1200. Let's go over here. Slightly lower price. Let's see what the taxes are like. Making all the difference. Look what we got now. 151 and 5%. Almost on the same same cost, same rent. Look at where we're at. Same rent ratio, 5% swing in cash on cash, and it's all a result of tax rate. That's a piece of land. Okay. And here they are paying, tenants paying $550. They claim it's going to go up to 650, which I don't believe, because what are they waiting for? They're just trying to sell. Let's see what the taxes are like. What's this say? Yeah, so it's out of whack as opposed to what they're asking for, but that might indicate that you have some room to improve rents. 1334, and that's gonna kill it. 203, 9%, minus 203 minus 9%, not like that, minus 0, better. Okay. So there you have it. Another 20 properties in Greenville. Be back tomorrow to look at the Saturday summary and see what kind of conclusion we can draw for these first 100 properties. Next week, Indianapolis or Milwaukee, I think. My name is Bram Spiro. You've been watching Buy and Hold Fundamentals. If you like what you're seeing, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel or liking the videos. That would help me very much. See you tomorrow.